Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points. Nope. Dang it. I knew it was bound to happen at some point. I am Senior Lakers Insider and lead creator for Offside, joined on this fine Thursday afternoon by Harrison Fagan of SB Nation and of all of your worst nightmares. Harrison, how you holding up?
I'm doing well. It's funny. When you and I started podcasting, I never thought that there would be a day that we were podcasting about the official sale of the Lakers going through from the Buss family.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I'm saying we started.
That's actually something I want. Like that was one of the starting points that I wanted to hit on. So I'm not gonna dive into it quite yet. So let's go ahead and get the stuff that I have to say out of the way. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you guys are listening to this in the morning via podcast, hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you get your podcast, preferably on Odyssey because I'm a company man. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So, Harrison, you kind of incidentally stumbled into exactly kind of where I wanted to start the show, or like one of the main points that I wanted to make. I guess we should say that today in the show, we're going to be talking about Jeanie Buss and the Buss family selling the Lakers now officially to Mark Walter. The NBA Board of Governors approved it unanimously. There was no dissent.
James Dolan didn't even abstain. He abstains from everything. That's how likable Jeanie Buss is. Even James Dolan showed up to vote for this one.
I thought for sure some owner would be like, no.
Yeah.
Like those trades in fantasy football where you're like, damn it, collusion, even though you know it's not collusion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, no, Jeanie, we're gonna miss you too much.
Yeah. So exactly. So so Jeanie Buss and the Buss family, they agreed to sell the Lakers to Mark Walter. I'm reading now, there are a couple statements that were made. I got a personal email from the Lakers that clarified some stuff because initially I was kind of curious about how this was actually going to be operated practically. So let's see. So the Buss family, which has owned a majority stake in this is from the NBA press release, which has owned a majority stake in the Lakers since Dr. Jerry Buss bought the team in 1979, will retain an ongoing interest. That interest is 15%. And that is the Buss Trust owns 15% of the Lakers still. That's an important number. Jeanie Buss will remain the team's governor for a period of at least 5 years following the closing of the transaction. So in a statement for the press release, Adam Silver said, quote, "I want to thank and congratulate Jeanie Buss and the Buss family for 46 years of transformational leadership and service. While this historic transaction transfers the Buss family's majority interest in the Lakers, I am thrilled that Jeanie will remain the team's governor and an active and engaged member of our league," said Silver, end quote. So initially, when I just was working off of this one, my wheels started spinning of like, oh, well, if she's governor, that could mean literally that she is just going to be attending governor meetings and she will make governor votes for the Lakers. That could be the baseline of expectations for Jeanie Buss and of the Lakers for Jeanie Buss, right? So that was from
is this? I mean, it's not the greatest comp, and like, there's obviously not a lot of similarities between these two people. But is this more like the Shelley Sterling, your number one fan for life ceremonial thing, or like, is she going to retain actual power and like, is she actually making these governing decisions,
right,
rather than just executing them?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that was from the league's press release. The Lakers press release had more details in it, including the following paragraph, which is really important, or graph that is really important. Quote, Jeanie Buss will remain governor of the Los Angeles Lakers and continue to oversee day-to-day team operations for the foreseeable future. Foreseeable future, I would imagine, for this, for all intents and purposes, at least 5 years, right?
I like that. So that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we called out, is the difference between the league statement and the team statement. Is the Lakers / Jeanie's PR people still, making these statements, are saying for the foreseeable future, and the league said for at least the next 5 years, and then we're going to think about it. And again, I'm not saying that there's necessarily like a power struggle, or that's intentional phrasing to show like a discrepancy between the two, but it is worth noting that the league sort of put a timeline on it, and Jeanie was kind of like, and Jeanie and the Lakers were kind of like, well, for the foreseeable, who's to say how far we can foresee the future? Or they're just admitting that they cannot see a future for this world past 5 years, which fair.
Yeah. Another reading of the situation, right, in the ambiguity from the Lakers side of things, could be Mark Walter being like, it could be 5, could be 3, could be. So anyway, so I'll
we don't know. Who's to say how much of the future we can foresee?
I can't foresee tomorrow, Harrison.
Yeah.
Her continued leadership reflects. It's just more fluff. So
can I just say that so did the Buss family, did they own the team for 46 years?
Yeah, the Buss family did. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, because I was like, it would be very funny if they had owned it for like 50, and Adam Silver was like, we want to congratulate them on 46 years of transformational leadership. Like
not the last 4.
The last 4, not that. I mean, not transformational actually is a good word, because that can be good or bad, depending on. And so, I guess all 46 years were transformational in different ways.
Also, what's funny here is like you could say like not times. The last 4, or they're just nixing the years that Jim Buss owned the team. Like, it's like actually
they're like 46 years. They're like 42 years of transformational ownership, and like 4 that were kind of like, but they made it through.
It's like when I remember in history classes, they were like the Dark Ages, and it was like, we aren't supposed to talk about that. It was like, hold on. It's like super weird that we called a period of history the Dark Ages, and we just barely like talked about them. And as
like, a kid, genuinely,
I want to talk about that even more now.
As a kid, like, I thought the Dark Ages just meant the planet was dark for that time. Like, I was like, it's like the Ice Ages, it was icy. The Dark Ages, it was dark.
What would be the describer for these ages? The dumb ages?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's hard to call your shot while you're living through history of what the world is going to remember that time for.
We are in the stupid ages. All right, so all right, Harrison, now that we have gotten kind of all the details out of the way here, you kind of sort of started the conversation where I wanted to start it, which is I have been surprised since this new cycle began how many people have been thrilled about the notion that Jeanie Buss and the Buss family are going to be moving on. That has really surprised me, because they are a critical part of the fiber of Los Angeles, right? The identity of Los Angeles.
Remember when Jerry passed, or even before that, if you had told someone like, no, man, I can't wait for the buses to sell, like, they would have tarred and feathered you and run you out of town. Yeah. Like they were Los Angeles's royal family, basically.
Really, like you're absolutely correct. And or at least one of them, like the Duke and Duchess of basketball, and
it's like, so Jerry was the king, and like, Jim Buss was the idiot son, but we're all rooting for him, and like Jeanie was the golden child, and
and so like one of like the thought that I keep on going back to today is because I was very like, the thing that I have cared the most about is like, all right, on a day-to-day basis, what does the Lakers being sold actually mean? And especially from like a Dodgers fans' perspective, who has seen the impact that Mark Walter and Guggenheim can have on, or AEG can have on a franchise, like, and look, Sparks fans might feel the exact opposite, right? Because they have probably felt like they are the redheaded stepchild that never
like,
gets
those guys spend what?
Yeah, right. So like
I think
that also
Magic's
needs
been
to be
doing the
pointed out.
budget, and he's just been. He only works an hour a day. He's not really an office guy, as Rob says.
Yeah, right.
He he just hasn't gotten around to fixing the Sparks yet.
Right. So it's like all I have really cared about is like, all right, what is this actually going to mean? When are we actually going to start to find out what this is actually going to mean? And when I wanted to pay super close attention to the wording that was used in these couple of press releases, and I'm really interested to see once more of Mark Walter's people get put into place. And we like, are we gonna get a leak off? Like, like, is this like, is that how all of this is going to play out? Is there actually the stated trust between the two parties here? Like, I just based on how the Dodgers operate, I don't think
sales almost always start with a trust.
Yeah.
There's usually a trust when the sale starts. It's like, does everyone feel like that relationship went as well as they possibly could in a sale this big by the
right
end?
And so, like, I based on how the Dodgers operate, I do think that Mark Walter would probably like to go in and make, if not sweeping change, but change, right? Additions at the very least to the way that the Lakers operate.
I mean, that's the vision of Mark Walter in your head, but I to play devil, to go full Raj mode and advocate for the devil, something that he invented. I will I'll just say, like, he's owned 27% of the Lakers. He might feel like things have been going well. Like, he's been upfront and he likes Rob, and again, we don't know what he actually thinks or what he actually wants to do with the front office. The statements have emphasized, Mark is committed to a vision of seeing through the transformational leadership, and values everything that everyone involved here has brought to the table, and is not going to be making sweeping changes. So is that actually true? And if it is, how long does that last? I think is a major question here.
Well, and that's the thing, is that, like, that's why I would have preferred for this to happen in an off season, right? Not like in the middle of a season as it's taking place. Because like, this just adds another variable to like the things that are going to be going on in a season. Harrison, like, based on how the Lakers have played so far, one of my major takeaways
for this season, though.
That's the thing, is that, like, having seen the way that, like, Luka looked when he first, over the first couple of games, and seeing how Austin has looked in these last few games, like, and seeing how DeAndre Ayton has looked, and like, there's a bit of a honeymoon period that is going to at some point fade, I would imagine, and at some point we're going to see the Lakers develop even more bumps and bruises over the course of a season and stuff. But it's like, one of my major takeaways is this team, I don't think, is that far off. Like, I actually feel very similar to this team as I did the tail end of the Russell Westbrook era, whereas, like, I'm watching, back then I would watch LeBron and I would watch Anthony Davis, and my takeaway, how many times did you hear me say this, Harrison? I don't think these guys need that much help.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to get that guy off of the team and replace him with some guys that actually make some basketball sense. And they did,
and
they
went off the basketball weighted vest and, let them sort of like do the training that they've been working on.
Yeah. And well, and that's my thing, is that, like, I now there isn't a Russell Westbrook presence on this team, which makes him that much closer, and
depends on how you feel about LeBron. I don't know. It's
easy.
I'm kidding. To be clear to everyone, that is
Colin Cowherd, who wasn't kidding.
That is a joke.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, maybe he'll be bad when he comes back. We don't know what he's going to look like post sciatica, but I would imagine he will be more effective than. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that LeBron is still going to be more effective than 2022 Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. I look at this team and I've seen these performances, at least offensively. I think the defense is a legitimate concern moving forward. Like, if the Lakers were to somehow win a championship, they would have the worst defense that has ever won a championship, I feel like.
Which sort of answers your question there. Like, this is not a title team. Like, if you're saying mad about them, if that's the caveat, it's not a title team yet.
Totally. Well, but that's the thing, though, is that, like, the funny thing about defense to me is that it's the kind of thing that I feel can be greatly impacted by a couple additions or subtractions in ways that, like, in offense, if you're a bad offensive team, it's really difficult to become a good offensive team by the end of the season. You know, you either have the engines or you don't, or you have the finishers or you don't. Whereas, like, defense, I do kind of think that it's a lot less strict a science than offense is in terms of the ingredients necessary. And the example that I would kind of point to is, you know, if you just back when Caruso was a Laker, he steps onto the court and the defense immediately jumps however many
Honestly,
points. Because
you don't even have to go back that far. You can go back to last year. They added Dorian Finney-Smith, and it's like, okay, they had just enough capable defenders to really like build a fairly good shell that obviously had its flaws and got exposed in the playoffs, but you can get flawed defenders to like you can find a place to stick them.
Yes.
If you have enough good guys around them.
And even before Dorian, right? Like, merely swapping out D'Angelo Russell for Max Christie in the starting five made them a lot better. And that was a guy that was already on the roster, you know, and that was one dude. And now look, you're improving a defense that has Anthony Davis as an anchor. There are going to be more positive upswings there than, you know, it would take to get those similar upswings with this Lakers defense with this current roster. But like, my point is that, like, I do think that the Lakers are within, you know, fighting, but like, they have a puncher's chance at winning a championship this year. And you know, with all of this now added to it, I'm really kind of curious how all of that's going to play out and stuff. And, you know, with Mark Walter, if the Dodgers have ever been close to winning a championship under Mark Walter and with Stan Kasten and with that ownership group, like, they have gone for it, like, period. If they saw that they had an opportunity, they have gone for it. This was the first trade deadline that they kind of sort of sat out. And the reason that they kind of sort of sat it out, it was because of all of the work that they did in the offseason. And I thought it was a fairly reasonable stance from the organization to be like, hey, superstars, be superstars. And I think our team is going to be pretty good. And eventually they did. And now they're kind of falling off of a cliff again now. And they're probably going to lose the World Series to Doug Davis's pleasure down there at the bottom of the chat. But like, my point here is that, like, I'm really curious to see how all of this, you know, because you look at how the Lakers have operated to this point, and you made this kind of indirectly a second ago. If you're Mark Walter, there are things to like. The Lakers have been a magnet for superstars. They have the 17 championships, you know, as a franchise. They are, you know, still the marquee franchise of the NBA. That doesn't happen without success, right? Otherwise you're the Knicks. And like, if I'm Mark Walter, the way that, yes, and you're right, I'm kind of extending my own practicalities or sensibilities here to this situation. But if I'm Mark Walter, I'm thinking, you know what? The bones here are fine. Like, at least for right now, there are things to like about this organization. Let's also, however, supplement them a little bit. Let's make sure, let's put the hand on the weight scale to make sure that Dalton Connect develops as a basketball player, to make sure that Adu Thero develops as a basketball player, and these guys that they're able to maximize what they get from those guys. Let's make sure that, like, whenever basketball decisions are actually made, they are made with the most intel and information that they can possibly be made with, you know, so that the Lakers can be more confident in their decision making than they have been over the last couple of years, when, you know, they have only made decisions if they were the absolute undeniable thing to do. So like, that I think is from like a fan's perspective. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, maybe we'll talk about it next, is how loudly fans have been hoping for that. You know, how loudly fans have been basically begging the Buss family, please modernize, please catch up with the people who you shared a building with even for the last few years. when they were still sharing a building with the Clippers.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think, again, like, it remains to be seen if A, that's something Mark Walter wants to do, and B, if does Jeanie Buss actually have the decision-making power here? And so if she is given, like, it's like, if you were given a different budget for the Lakers lounge, and they're like, hey, we're giving you actually like $2 million to spend on co-hosts and whatever, like, you'd be shopping in a different tax bracket all of a sudden. But it's like, would you want to give your friends raises? Like, I would hope the answer is yes. But like, or would you go shopping for like more outside help? And so it's like, if the reason I make this analogy is like, if you're Jeanie and are you actually in charge of the Lakers? And if you are, do you actually want to go out and add more resources, or does that threaten the power of your friends? And it maybe, it opens up that inner circle a little bit, when the Lakers have been very sort of a tightly knit, cliquish front office. And it's like, does, do your friends Kurt Rambis and Rob Pelinka like want somebody looking over their shoulder? Are they like, hey, things are fine. Like, why we don't need to add people. We don't need more scouts, like, to potentially leak things. Like, we don't want that, because we don't want to bring in people that could potentially usurp our power by showing more competence than we have. And so, again, like, a lot of this is going to come down to like, how in charge is Jeanie actually? And if given more resources, where now it's not a decision between like, am I about to hurt my family and I's like, summer vacations and dispensations from the trust this year by hiring an extra, couple front office people, or like, am I just like doing this out?
Yeah, Harrison kind of cut off there for a second, but like, yeah, I think it's all to like, cause that is a concern, right? That Mark Walter might prefer to run an organization in a certain way, and Jeanie Buss would push back and say, we've done fine, and for Mark Walter, he could be like, yeah, you've done fine. And it doesn't cost me anything for you guys to continue operate as fine. If we don't, if you refuse the resources, right? My thing is, though, this is that, like you said earlier, there's trust at the beginning. You're going to work with each other at the beginning, I would hope. This isn't the time where Mark Walter walks into the office and says, hey, Jeanie, this is what I'm thinking about. Or walks into Rob Pelinka's. Rob is going to do whatever it takes to just remain employed. So I'm not really that concerned about like pushback from Rob. But Mark Walter walks into these offices and he basically says, hey, I'm thinking about, what's your scouting department look like? And by the way, the thing is that like the one nice thing here about, this happening mid-season is that Mark Walter already knew how the Lakers operated. He's been a minority owner for a long time. So he has that kind of in his back pocket. And because this has already been taking place while the season has been going on, he's also, I would imagine, gotten even a clearer view of it as he's been getting ready to make this purchase, and as he's been waiting for this thing to be finalized. So he can go to Jeanie, he can go to Rob, he can go to whoever and be like, all right, based on the first, a month's worth of training camp and preseason and a couple weeks or so of the NBA season so far, this is what I think you guys could maybe use, right?
If there's one thing that we know, it's that powerful people used to making the final call love getting notes on what they should do.
Well, the thing is, when you sell the team, that is something that like it just comes with the territory. So if you don't like it,
what does governor mean in that case?
What's that?
What does governor mean? Why do you get to sell the toy and continue to
well, that's the thing. Do you have a theory on why the league okayed this and not with like others?
I believe it's something about the minimum ownership percentage that you have to have
for sure.
Yeah.
Grusebeck only owns like a 1% stake in the Celtics now. Mark Cuban is a 27% owner.
No, but Mark Cuban didn't get it in writing.
Yeah.
He was like, for tax purposes, I'm a business genius. It's easier for me to not write this down. And then he realized like how much power a contract that you don't write down has. So I think it's like as simple as that.
Yeah.
Wait, we had a handshake deal. What the hell? You traded Luka?
But like, yeah, I
This
also
is more
kind
than
of
a handshake
wonder.
deal, and they own the minimum percentage required. So I think I think it's as simple as that. And I think it's also Jeanie, again, for all of our critiques of her, Jeanie has been a good ambassador for the league. She
Great
has
one.
been someone who like is never going to embarrass the league in the like with her personal conduct or anything like that. Like she has been a good citizen of the
Dang,
NBA that
Doug
all
is
the other
really
owners like.
persistent. This guy, Doug. I already
Did he make a
banned you
new
once.
account?
I think he made another account to come back and
Wow.
make the same comment.
You got to respect the hustle.
I do. I mean, I can respect it long enough to block him, but still, that's crazy. But yeah, I do think like there. I don't think there's some grand conspiracy here. I think like you're saying, contractually and in terms of precedent, like I don't think Adam Silver wants to be the guy to make that decision. Honestly,
I don't think they were going to ever throw themselves in front of the train of like, let's kick Jeanie out. Like, we want her out of the league. Like, maybe they will intervene because they historically,
do you think
and
they
I
would have
believe
with
they talked
Jim?
about this. Yeah. Yeah. Like, if it was Jim, they probably would have been like, I don't know if you could do that. Like, it's actually 20% you got to keep. Sorry. We just changed the rules. You know, but since it's Jeanie, like, I don't think that anyone was like, hey, we need to kick her out of the league. If this is an agreement that these adults came to, we trust that she is not going to do like an attempted coup power struggle while owning 15% of the team. Like if Mark Walter decides that it's time for her to go, she's going to step aside with like some level of grace.
Yeah, I just picture Jim like, all right, we never signed the no take backs clause. So guess what, everybody on stage? And Chaz is like, look, I Googled it. That's a real clause.
He's like, look, in addition to being a scout and a bartender, I got my legal degree from online. And, nowhere in the rule book does it say that a dog can't own a basketball team.
He's like, I got my legal document from Princeton.tech. What up, folks? I got it from Gronkopedia or whatever. Grokkopedia.
Gronkopedia. It's Rob Gronkowski's Grok competitor. But he personally writes all the articles on what things are.
Look, honestly,
I
would
read
check
it.
that out.
Yeah.
I think it would be more useful than Grok.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to go back though to I want to go back to the fan reaction to this. And
yeah,
Jeanie has been in the stands when fans have derided her and Lakers leadership, for over stuff.
Yeah.
And she has heard that noise at times. She has talked about hearing that noise at times. While this sale has been going on, you look at like if you go through the comments to those of us who tweeted out the press release or the NBA's actual tweet about it or the Lakers actual tweet about it. I don't know if the Lakers sent one.
They did.
But they did.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. So but like it, if you look at the responses to it and the number of comments that were like, really? She's staying?
Yeah.
And I know that there's some like misogyny to it too. So I want to like
yeah.
that I disagree with the misogyny behind it, but there are some fair critiques of how she has run the Lakers. You can't run a multi-billion-dollar franchise. We know the evaluation. It's a $10 billion franchise, and you can't run it with just your buddies. That's just not a very professional way to run things. And I do kind of wonder if she has seen, or if those people who are running the Lakers currently have seen that noise, if Mark Walter has noticed that same noise, to be like, oh, Lakers fans are actually ready for some change here. And if so,
I do wonder how much of this was sold to Mark Walter as like, hey, we're the royal family of Los Angeles. Like, I am the queen of Los Angeles. And like Lakers fans are going to want some continuity, and like they're going to be sad when they hear that the Buss family is selling the team. And then he's like looking at the reaction online. He's like, oh wait,
I don't think you are. But that's the thing though, is that like I do kind of wonder what agent of change fans can actually be here, where there are enough people who are kind of annoyed at it. Like, because look, I'll just say it. I feel like they underperformed in the LeBron AD era. Like, they got
Yeah.
the one championship, and congratulations to them for that. But the expectation with the Lakers is multiple championships when you have a duo of that level, of that kind of pedigree. So far with Luka, right? They got to the.
And how many times in the LeBron era have they shot themselves in the foot and then been like, well, we're just going to wait it out and waste the season?
Right. Well, and that waiting it out prepared them poorly for the beginning of the Luka era, right? Like by not fielding a more competitive roster around LeBron and AD, the Lakers weren't ready when the playoffs happened and they entered them with Jackson Hayes as their starting center. And look, like I think those kinds of things, if I'm Mark Walter and if I'm Lakers fans, I'm saying that has to change. We have a real opportunity here. The Lakers have a real opportunity here with Luka Doncic entering his prime. We're watching Austin Reaves enter his freaking prime. Like I obviously don't think he has a ceiling as high as Luka's, but he's pretty damn good,
I don't know.
and
He's
LeBron
averaging 45 points a game this week, so maybe.
Yeah, well, LeBron is coming off of an all NBA caliber season. And by the way, they have guys
not
on
caliber.
discounts.
He made it.
What's that?
Not caliber. He made all NBA.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he was the sixth best player in the NBA last year based on MVP voting and by all NBA returns. And so I don't know, if I'm Mark Walter, I'm looking at this opportunity in front of me and I'm like, all right, what can we possibly do here to absolutely maximize this? And are the people who are in charge of the Lakers currently and have been in charge of the Lakers for the last 5 years or so, are they actually the best people that we can get if the goal is to maximize this window that we have in front of us? Now, Jeanie is the governor for the next 5 years. And while she is the governor, or, according to the NBA's press release and for the foreseeable future, according to the Lakers press release, but while she is the governor, I'm just here to tell you, Rob isn't going anywhere. The Ramby not going anywhere.
Not if she's actually the governor that has the control over these decisions, which again is like that's the big question here is are you the governor in name, or are you the governor in that you're there and you're there to execute Mark Walter's vision, or are you the governor in that you're actually still in charge even though you don't own the majority percentage of the team anymore? You still have a large degree of power.
I guess to your point, the quote here says Jeanie Buss will remain governor of the Los Angeles Lakers and continue to oversee day-to-day team operations for the foreseeable future. Oversee is a little different from outright running things, right? And if she, if Mark Walter says, all right, what are you seeing? And she's like, well, our record's okay. And he's not okay with while they have Luka playing at the level that we know Luka can play at. Maybe at some point
she can be the legal governor, and with him having the majority ownership percentage, it kind of doesn't matter. Like if he decides, hey, you're beefing out the scouting department, like I feel really strongly about this, she's not going to be able to put.
Well, and if she pushes back, Mark Walter is going to be like, no,
hers.
This was under this, this whole sale. Like, I bought this team so that we can maximize this team and I can maximize my profits. And if he feels that, and that's the thing, is that this is one of the points that I made on Twitter.
Buy a toy so that their neighbor can play with it.
Well, yeah, it's like nobody.
Like when you bought your house, you didn't let the previous owners continue to live there and do renovations on it,
Yeah. Well, we are the first owners of this place, but whoever buys this place from us, eventually, if we sell this house,
not going to oversee day-to-day operations of their household, when they buy that house.
All right. Yeah. I guess to actually make the analogy work here, Chessmar is a company that built our house. They don't get to step in here and be like, all right, you're painting your house now. That's not something that they're able to do.
You decided your house is going to be Celtics green.
What's funny is Chessmar's colors, green is a very pervasive one. But yeah, So to the people because we've gotten a version of this question a bunch from like Dakin, right? What does this actually change in the hierarchy of how the Lakers are run? We don't know right now. Like in theory, I would say that it might not change much immediately.
I think short term, it probably changes very little is my guess mid-season.
Yeah. But depending on how the season goes and depending on what Mark Walters sees when he actually has the controller in his hand, that's when we will see, the impact that he chooses to have on this team. And look,
also, how
again,
involved is he going to be? We don't know yet. We don't know how involved he's going to be yet. Is this going to be something where once the Dodgers are done, he's in the Lakers offices every day? Is he going by once a week? Who is he getting reports from? Like how much of a vision of how he wants the basketball team to be does he have? Or how much of it is he just coming in and evaluating, seeing what he thinks works, and then seeing where maybe he has notes?
Well, here's what I would say. The one thing that we can be pretty confident in saying when it comes to these billionaires is he'll be fine with whoever running it, however they're running it, Jeanie running it, however she's going to run it, until he realizes he could make more money doing things a little differently.
Yeah.
That is when we'll see
or have more success or whatever, like whatever's most important to him in this purchase.
Yeah. Well, I don't think money is ever very far down the list.
Probably not. Yeah.
Returns are always a pretty high priority.
No, I mean, I'm just saying he's not Steve Ballmer's level of wealth, obviously, but like Steve Ballmer doesn't really care about driving a profit with the Clippers.
I think long term he does.
I mean, maybe, but also like he's just like, this is fun. I get to hang out with NBA players and I love basketball. And like I also love trees. And so this is a great match. Like,
like, all right, how's he gonna do it?
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer's like, I'm just a really charitable guy. I just want to make sure my
uncles,
guys are super
duper
well
he
paid.
Just like he's a big fan of uncles, It's
all right, I want to segue over kind of awkwardly now at this point to Austin's recent play and some of the takes.
Is he going to be running the Lakers? He deserves it, some would say, after this week.
I'm just trying to figure out ways that the Lakers can get Austin Reaves some help.
Alternate governor Austin Reaves. I think he's earned it.
Assistant GM Jake LaRavia. So I don't know if you've noticed this too, Harrison, but I've noticed that like Austin Reaves has been playing well, and everybody's first response nationally has been like, "All right, how can we make this dramatic?" And it's like, is this Austin's team now? What a stupid question to ask.
Nobody's actually asked that. Come on.
Well, no, it's like I saw Colin Cowherd today. There's a clip of him saying like, "Does this mean LeBron's on the outs?" It's like, what are we doing? Why does everything have to be?
I think the answer to that question is yes, but it's not because Austin's playing well.
Yeah, like the LeBron's on the outs because they got Luka. It has nothing to do with Austin, Maybe it makes it like a little bit easier now because they have the second engine of the team or like the secondary creator already in house. But it's like the funny thing is because I've seen people making this point too, where it's like, does this team need LeBron? And it's like, yes. Ask that question about any basketball team, Harrison. Does this team need LeBron James? Fucking yes.
Good basketball player help this team be good at basketball. I don't know.
What are we doing? And the reason that I think LeBron is even more critical to this team than people are kind of, I don't know if they're being dumb on purpose or whatever, but like I think one of the reasons that LeBron is specifically important to this team is because he can be a chameleon. He is incredibly flexible with like the ways that he can impact the team. He worked on this entire offseason on his catching and shooting and his attacking off of the catch so that he can step in and be more impactful when Luka is dominating the basketball. When Austin got there and they realized, oh shit, Austin can actually handle these tense moments down the stretches of these close games, LeBron started setting screens for him, where he started running inverted pick and roll that got Austin good looks. LeBron played one way with Dwayne Wade, played a different way with Kyrie Irving, played a different way with Anthony Davis. This dude has always figured out ways to win, no matter who his teammates are. So long as those teammates were were of a certain caliber and allowed him to actually compete. And like that's what I don't know what between the takes about LeBron and the takes about Austin's contract, I've been kind of surprised at how, I don't know. People can't just say, "Holy shit, this has been really cool to watch about Austin." Everybody has had to take the next step of like, all right, here's why this is a problem, or here's why this needs to be addressed. I don't think it needs to. Especially not right now. It can't be right now. LeBron can't be traded right now. He has a no trade clause. Austin can't sign a new contract right now.
Austin can't really be traded because you're certainly not getting a player of his impact back at his contract level. And so, yeah, you are sort of like, it is sort of a meaningless question until this summer. And then, like, I mean, there are real discussions to be had this summer of like, how much is it worth keeping LeBron around? Like how much money is that actually worth on the books? This year, that number was locked in. So there's no discussion, whatever. Like he picked up his player option. That's what it was. But over the summer, I mean, you can ask these questions of like, how much resources should the Lakers be devoting to at that point, 41-year-old LeBron James? And that's a fair time to have that discussion. But right now it's like, yeah, like they're not trading LeBron because Austin played well for a week while he had like a 57 usage percentage,
It might be the highest. Like, he set usage records over the last 3 days. Games.
And like he's the only guy on the team that can dribble. It almost like people will use that to demean the usage thing. They'll use it to demean like what he's doing. And it's like, oh, well, he's just getting a ton of shots. It's like, yeah, but he's getting a ton of shots. Well, other teams also know that he is the only guy that can dribble and make plays on the Lakers. And he's still doing this against fully locked in defenses. And that makes it, if anything, more impressive to me. Well, not the Kings, but
yeah, except for
the Blaze and the Wolves have actually been, I did a Wolves pod this morning. I actually didn't realize this. They have been 27th in defense this year. And I know it's only 5 games.
Have statistically, they've been bad defensively. They've been a disaster when Gobert hasn't been on the court defensively. Yeah. But they still do have the personnel to be good defensively. Like it's not.
Yeah, I mean less so without Ant, but yeah, like they still should. They should be better than they were last night for sure.
Yeah. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker was a bigger loss than people took for. It was one of those things where I was like, hey guys, this guy like was a starter, borderline starter on those teams that got to the Western Conference Final. We're just not taking his absence into account at all. All right, fine. Yeah, I think though that like and by the way, I've seen this a lot too. And I saw Dave McMenamin was taking a lot of crap for, comparing Austin to Jeremy Lin. And it's like, guys, we don't have intellect saying Austin is on a totally different level than Jeremy Lin. Is disrespectful to place Austin on the same level as Lin. Look, the reason people are doing the Linsanity thing is because it rhymes with insanity. It has
well, it's also like, again, it's not the same.
It came out of nowhere.
That was a different team content. Yeah, Austin came less out of nowhere. He's obviously a much more known commodity. He was going to make a lot of money this summer, even without this week. Now he's probably going to make more, but like he was going to make a lot of money this summer regardless. And so, yeah, like he is, he's less of a flash in the pan than Jeremy Lin was for sure. But the reason people are making the comparison is because it's like he has gone from good NBA player to like he is like leading in certain advanced statistics for like a week when they turn the keys over to him. And like that's why it's like this is just like as great as we all like, as much as we all like Austin, like he wasn't doing this before he was a primary ball handler. And to be honest, like we didn't know that he was capable of this. I certainly didn't.
Dude, I mean, outside of maybe him and his agent, I don't think very many people thought he was capable of this. Like I thought he'd be pretty good. Like I thought like I certainly have been betting his overs, when given those opportunities on him, because I do think he's a great offensive player.
Oh man.
But like
he's going to jail. I promise we'll try to find another another host once that happens.
Yeah. Me and Chauncey sharing a jail cell. But like the thing is like the reason that I don't know. I really do think that the rhyming plays a big role in this, in that like Austin sanity is right there. But also we got to remind ourselves where Austin actually came from, and whether, yes, he was undrafted because his agency told teams not to draft him and because he wanted to get to the Lakers, or his agency wanted him to get to the Lakers. At the end of the day, he was a late second round pick. I don't think any teams had him mocked much higher than like the 40s, and
Danny Ainge would have taken him in the top 10, but he just didn't have a pick there,
Exactly. But like the I don't know. I just feel like people, like, we just kind of decide out of nowhere who gets yelled at, and I guess I feel bad for the people who get yelled at in these moments, because like Dave McMenamin sends what he probably thinks is a completely innocent whatever tweet.
He's like, "Hey, Linsanity was fun. This is also fun."
Right, like Dave, I don't think he thought about it to the degree that people were livid at him over it, and I'm like, guys, can we don't have to like assume the worst about every single post that we see out there. Why is this a thing? But yeah, I think that like with Austin, I again, I don't think that it means that LeBron is less valuable or that the Lakers don't need him. I don't think that it's like, all right, now the Lakers really need to figure out what Luka's future looks like. No. And like, yes, with Austin being this good offensively, it does make it, I think, more important that the Lakers find a player that fits between him and Luka that highlights some of those guys's strengths while also making up for some of the deficiencies, i.e. defense. And
Yes.
and like it, but still, like, I don't know. I have found myself, Harrison, just sitting back and laughing at these 3 games more so than anything, or like, yes, there are some like, takeaways about him and Aiton's fit in the pick and roll and what that might mean for the offense and stuff like moving forward. Really though, I have just really enjoyed watching this take place and watch this guy who, there was some talk coming into the season. And I know that, when I talked to people who were close to Austin about what he was kind of working on, they were all kind of warning me, like, look out, this guy's getting ready to take another leap. And I'm like, in an age 27 season, he's already taken a couple of leaps. How much better can this guy?
Luka and LeBron.
Yeah, like, how much better can this guy actually get? And I had no idea that it was offensive juggernaut onto his own. Like, that is not the category of player that I thought Austin was going to force into. Those conversations were the kinds that he was going to force himself into. And to me, it's like,
yeah,
I've
I'm
just
like
really enjoyed watching the basketball.
Sending a tweet that's like James Harden on the like early Rockets, and then like the upgrade key, and then Austin Reaves.
Like, I saw a tweet where it was like him and Shea, and it's like, hey, are we gonna have this conversation? I was like, sure.
We probably shouldn't, but sure, yeah. Let's not yet.
Let's have the conversation. Why not? I guess he's
an
MVP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's me getting older or whatever, but I've just found myself really enjoying this, like just having fun with it. And I feel like that's kind of gone away.
This is what we watch sports for. For as much as we all love the trades and we want to chase championships and we want to talk about ownership slop and like, who's going to run what team and what's going on and, what moves the team can make and who they're going to sign in 2027. It's like, ultimately, none of us came to basketball for that. Like, we all came because we had a player that we latched onto, or a team, and like, or someone that we saw play that we thought was really cool, and we decided to invest more and start to learn about it. And it's like, right now, like, Austin is going to be that for a certain, maybe not like a generation of Lakers fans, but there are going to be fans that they watch their first couple games this year and they're like, I love this Austin Reaves guy, and I'm going to follow him like for the rest of, his career. And, at the very least, it's like, he's a beloved figure, I think, among most Lakers fans. I know he's become more polarizing as like, it became clearer and clearer that the Lakers were going to have to pay him more. He was no longer like a luxury and like a fun little like cheap find. But I think most Lakers fans, like Austin and are probably rooting for him personally. And, again, it's like to watch a guy, this is basically, this is a sports movie. This is the guy going from borderline undrafted, maybe taken in the second round if he hadn't done some maneuvering, to potential like first week of the season all-star consideration. I don't know if that's going to last, but nobody in a million years thought Austin Reaves was going to be this when he signed that 2-way contract as an undrafted player with the Lakers. Not even when he was cooking Melo and Avery Bradley in off-season workouts in Las Vegas did they think he was going to be this good.
He was in a conversation with Victor Wembanyama for Player of the Week. He's probably still
with
going to be a finalist.
Wemby just had.
Yeah, right. Like
when it's like every Wemby highlight is like him doing something you've never seen on a basketball court before.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, he just blocked 2 shots and then hit a pull-up 3. Sure, whatever. Like,
yeah, and yet Austin still got votes for Player of the Week.
Yeah, and they're like, is Austin better? I don't know, maybe.
but yeah, it was it's been wild to watch all of this kind of.
Here's how much fun this has been. That Austin shot, like, again, like, not to federally indict myself, but like that cost me role player.
I like the servers cut out when you were like getting ready.
I was still hyped when he hit that shot.
So the servers cut out when you were making the first half of that point, and I think it's hilarious that like the internet, your internet was trying to protect you from whatever point that you were getting ready to make.
So I did some illegal gambling, and no, I mean, I said if the Lakers win more than one game without Luka, I will buy a Marcus Smart or Jake.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Role player is going to go off during this time, and you know, Marcus hasn't played, so I feel like it's against the spirit of the thing to like buy his. Like I let the people decide. Unfortunately, they decided on Bronny James, so I think I'm gonna be like our next pod. I think I'm gonna be wearing a Bronny James jersey to apologize to Austin.
Man, that's a rough one.
Yeah, him or JJ Redick seem to be the leading and honestly, I'd rather buy the Bronny one.
Yeah, I chat Riley on the back of a jersey would be like, really, really funny.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the ones where the store would reject it. Like it would go to the human, and they would like they'd be like, like we don't know what this means, but I don't like it. It looks suspicious. Like we're just gonna flag this one, and we're not making it. Like you got to go to like a sports memorabilia store to get that one made.
Yeah. So my last thing here, and it kind of falls in line with what we were talking about, like how much fun this has been too, is. Because you're right, like Austin has become this polarizing figure. He's a guy that the Lakers haven't included in certain trade talks. And he's this guy who's getting ready for a big pay raise, and for a variety of he struggled in last year's playoffs. Like there for a variety of reasons, people basically planted their flag on one stance or the other on Austin. And
frankly, there are people who think he's overrated because he's white. Probably fewer after this one. Probably fewer after this week. But like that has been a thing in the past.
Yeah. And look, I think maybe before this week he might have been overrated by some people because he's white. Like that's a thing
that's probably underrated by some people because of it.
Yeah. Like and so, but like my thing is, for whatever reason, people who've planted their flag on one side or another on Austin. And even like, you know, you react to Austin doing something as cool as a game winner last night, or 50 points against Sacramento, almost a 50-point triple-double against Sacramento, scores 40 against a really good defensive Portland Trailblazers team, and then helps, like, basically you could make the argument, Harrison, almost single-handedly has kept the Lakers afloat. Without LeBron and Luka, something that really is going to matter when we get to the end of the season. Yeah. And those are things that, like, all Lakers fans, I would assume, normally would
they might have just won the tiebreaker for seeding with Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, because of that shot.
And so like there are reasons that like Lakers fans can just be happy about this, but like because in this social media age, or this dumb age, to go back to the joke we made earlier,
the idiocracy era.
Yeah, like in this era that we're in, rather than like root for your team or root for players or root for stories or enjoy these things, people have to go back to the take that they have. And maybe I'm biased on this because I've been pro Austin this whole time.
And you've never been guilty of going back and trying to reinforce your takes.
Never. But like, I will give myself some credit that, like, even if I was anti-Austin going into this, I would still probably say, like, damn, this is crazy. I would hope at least that I would be able to be like,
here's why this is a bad thing for the Lakers.
Bontemps. But if I would like to give myself enough credit to be able to say, you know what, this is just cool. Like, this guy's story is just cool. This is just good for the Lakers. This is just and yet, like, people have struggled to do that. And I would just hope that like if you catch yourself, and by the way, now that I've like made this point on the pod, if this situation arises, because I'm like kind of sort of out on JJ Redick, right? And if it turns out that JJ Redick is actually good, I will happily say, you know what? I am happy to have been wrong, that he proved me wrong.
No, my favorite team's coach is good.
Yeah, like sweet. Yeah. Awesome, right? It's the same thing like with the Bronny thing. I don't think Bronny is a very good basketball player, and I don't really have high hopes for him moving forward, given the lack of improvement that we saw from last year.
You don't think my jersey stock's going to go up?
But like, if his stock goes up, if he does turn things around and is able to say cross half court with the ball still in his hands against pressure, then great. Awesome. Like that's like what rather than doubling down and hammering that flag further into the ground, I would hope that we would all find a way to be like, you know what, this is actually kind of cool that we're watching this happen. Man, this episode really kind of flew by. Anything, Harrison, that you wanted to plug before we get you out of here?
My wife is going to be dropping her annual NBA Fears video on Twitter tomorrow, like NBA haunted house figures and what they're afraid of as they go through the haunted house.
Those are fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, check that out at Mia Graviador.
Did you help her on him this year?
Yeah. I helped with some of the brainstorming. I didn't help with the editing process. I can't do that.
Yeah. No, I would know that. Yeah.
I'm gonna have I will edit. You'll see that there, like most of the names will be spelled right because I'm involved.
Well, that's good. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and hitting that subscribe button in advance. And if you haven't already, do so. And hit that like button, hit that share button, and 5-star reviews, all of that good stuff. And until the next time you guys hear from me, which will be tomorrow with Pete, I'm Anthony Irwin. That has been Harrison Fagan. Have a great rest of your day and make somebody else's. And we will talk to you whenever we talk to you.
Bye, everyone.